There comes a moment in every life when the veil begins to lift, when the illusions of this world can no longer keep you comfortable, and the reality of eternity presses against your spirit. This is that moment. What you are about to hear is not a story, not a lecture, not a philosophy. It is a divine wake-up call. This will shake your soul and open your eyes. For too long, people have walked blind, believing that life is just about survival, money, pleasures, or fleeting happiness. But what if I told you that everything you see with your natural eyes is temporary? What if I told you that there are forces moving around you unseen, influencing your thoughts, your choices, your destiny? The unseen world is more real than the ground beneath your feet. Darkness hides in plain sight, deceiving, distracting, and destroying, and many, even now, are trapped in chains they cannot see. When God shakes a soul, He does it not to break you, but to wake you. The shaking tears down false foundations you've trusted in, your pride, your comfort, your lies. It is uncomfortable, even painful, but it is necessary. A soul that has never been shaken is a soul still asleep. But when God allows that shaking, when He strips away everything that is fake, only the truth remains, and that truth will set you free. Your eyes must be opened, because the moment you see, truly see, you will understand that life is not a game. Every word, every thought, every choice carries eternal weight. Heaven and hell are not distant ideas. They are present realities waiting beyond the veil of one final heartbeat. You will not be judged by how popular you were, how wealthy you became, or how many people praised you. You will be judged by the condition of your soul and the choices you made with the truth you were given. This is why you are being shaken right now. This is why your heart feels restless, because God is trying to awaken you to eternity. He is trying to show you that this world is passing away, and only what is eternal will last. You cannot hide from the truth once your eyes are opened. You cannot unsee what God shows you. The question then becomes, will you surrender to the light, or will you retreat into the darkness? The time is short. Tomorrow is not promised. The shaking you feel is God's mercy, His hand pulling you away from destruction. He is saying, wake up, open your eyes, step into the truth before it's too late. There are times in life when everything you thought was stable begins to tremble, when the ground beneath your feet feels as though it is splitting, when nothing seems secure anymore. In those moments, the natural reaction is fear. You wonder, why is this happening to me? Why is everything falling apart? Why do I feel as though the very core of my being is shaking? But what you call disaster, God calls transformation. What feels like the breaking of your life is often the making of your soul. The shaking is not meant to destroy you. It is meant to strip away the lies you've built your identity upon, to tear down the false structures that could never carry you into eternity. The soul that is never shaken will never awaken. And this is why shaking is not a punishment but a mercy. Think of a tree in a storm. The winds rage, the rain pounds, and the branches thrash violently. To the eye, it looks as though the storm will rip the tree apart. But after the storm passes, the roots have gone deeper, the soil has been loosened, and the tree has grown stronger. The storm did not kill it, it made it unshakable, so it is with the soul. When God allows your world to shake, it is not because He hates you. It is because He loves you too much to let you remain shallow, blind, and asleep. He shakes you because He knows eternity is closer than you think, and you cannot enter eternity carrying false gods, fragile foundations, and empty illusions. The shaking exposes what you have been leaning on. Some people lean on money, and when their finances collapse, they think God has abandoned them. But in reality, God has removed the idol that blinded them. Some lean on relationships, on people who were never meant to be their saviors, and when betrayal or heartbreak comes, it feels unbearable. Yet even in that pain, God is revealing that no human can carry the weight of your soul. Only He can. Others lean on pride, on their own strength, on the illusion of control. But when the shaking comes, they discover that all their control was an illusion, and only surrender to God can bring peace. The shaking exposes, but it also invites. It exposes what is false, and it invites you into what is true. Many run from the shaking. They try to numb it with distractions, drown it with entertainment, silence it with addictions. But the shaking will not stop until the work is complete. You can resist it and make the pain worse, or you can surrender to it and allow God to do what only He can do. Because here is the truth: the shaking always precedes the awakening. The discomfort always comes before the transformation. The breaking always comes before the blessing. A soul that has never been crushed has never truly been changed, and a soul that has never been shaken has never truly seen the glory of God. It is in the shaking that you learn what is real. You discover that money cannot save you. You discover that pleasure cannot satisfy you. You discover that people cannot be your foundation. And in that discovery, your eyes are opened. You see that there is only one rock that cannot be moved, only one foundation that cannot be shaken, only one truth that remains when everything else collapses, and that is God Himself. Everything else fades. Everything else falls, but He remains. Do not despise the shaking in your life right now. Do not curse it. Do not try to run from it. Ask instead, what is God trying to reveal to me? What is He stripping away? What is He preparing me for? Because the shaking is always for a purpose. It is preparing you for what is eternal. It is making sure that when you stand before Him, you are not clothed in falsehood, but in truth, not rooted in temporary things, but rooted in the eternal Word of God. The shaking may hurt, yes. It may feel unbearable at times, but remember this: God does not allow shaking where He does not intend to build something greater. He tears down what is weak to build what is strong. He removes what is false to establish what is true. He allows what is temporary to fall so that what is eternal may stand. And once you pass through the shaking, you will not be the same. You will be stronger, purer, freer, and more awake to the reality of eternity than ever before. The shaking of your soul is not the end of your story. It is the beginning of your transformation. Most people live as though the world they see with their natural eyes is the only world that exists. They wake up, eat, work, scroll, sleep, repeat, never realizing that behind the curtain of what they call normal life, there is another dimension, a realm more real than the ground beneath their feet. It is the realm of the unseen, where forces of light and darkness move, where angels and demons contend, where destinies are shaped, and eternity hangs in the balance. And while many are blind to it, that blindness does not protect them. In fact, it makes them more vulnerable. For if you cannot see the chains around your soul, you will never fight to be free from them. There is a darkness that hides in plain sight. It does not always roar. Sometimes it whispers. It does not always terrify. Sometimes it entertains. It does not always destroy you suddenly. Sometimes it lulls you to sleep, so you never realize you are being destroyed. The enemy does not need you to worship him openly. He only needs you to ignore the truth, to stay numb, distracted, and spiritually blind. That is his strategy. He blinds the eyes of men and women so they cannot see the glory of God, so they cannot see eternity, so they keep chasing shadows until their final breath. This hidden darkness is subtle, but it is deadly. Think of how many people today believe lies and call them truth. They celebrate what God calls sin. They mock what God calls holy. They chase after pleasures that corrode their souls, and all the while, they believe they are free. That is the greatest deception of the hidden darkness. It convinces you that chains are freedom, that blindness is sight, that death is life. And unless your eyes are opened by God, you may never realize that you are walking in darkness while thinking you are in the light. The hidden darkness is not only outside of you. It tries to creep into your heart. It shows up in the compromises you justify. It whispers in the bitterness you refuse to let go of. It feeds in the secret sins you think no one knows about. But what is hidden will one day be exposed. You cannot hide what God already sees. You cannot cover what eternity will reveal. The darkness around you and within you is patient, waiting for the moment you least expect to consume you completely. And this is why the shaking of your soul is necessary, because only when the light of God floods in can you see what was hiding in the shadows. When your eyes are open to the hidden darkness, it is terrifying at first. You see how fragile life is. You see how easily men are deceived. You see how short time really is. But that sight is also your salvation, because once you see the darkness, you also begin to see the light. Once you see the enemy's schemes, you realize there is a greater power that has already overcome him. Once you realize the snares around you, you understand the urgency of clinging to the one who breaks every chain. The hidden darkness loses its grip when your eyes are open to the eternal light of Christ. The tragedy is not that darkness exists, it always has. The tragedy is that so many people are content to walk in it, content to call blindness vision, content to fill their days with meaningless noise while their souls drift toward eternity unprepared. That is why your soul must be shaken. That is why your eyes must be opened, because you cannot fight what you do not see. You cannot resist what you do not recognize, and you cannot be free from what you are still entertaining. This message is not meant to scare you, but to awaken you. You are not just flesh and blood, you are spirit and soul. You are not just living for today, you are living for eternity. And while darkness may surround you, it does not have to consume you. The very fact that you can hear this, that your heart feels the weight of these words, is proof that God is breaking the blindness, lifting the veil, exposing the hidden darkness, and calling you into his marvelous light. So do not ignore it. Do not brush it aside. Open your eyes. Look around you. See the spiritual war being waged over your soul. Recognize the darkness, and then run with everything in you toward the light. For once you truly see, you will never again mistake the counterfeit for the real. And once you step into the truth, the darkness around you will lose its power. Eternity is not an idea, it is not a concept, and it is not some distant event waiting billions of years away. Eternity is the most real reality, pressing closer to you than your very heartbeat. Every second that passes, you are moving toward it. Every breath you take is a step closer to it. And yet, most people live as if this life is all there is, as if the temporary is permanent and the permanent is imaginary. They live for possessions, for pleasures, for praise, never realizing that all of it is smoke that will vanish the moment death opens the door. When your eyes are open to eternity, suddenly everything changes. Suddenly the things you once thought were so important seem like dust, and the things you ignored become weightier than the universe. Imagine standing on the shore of an endless ocean. Your life here on earth is nothing more than one grain of sand on that shore, one drop of water in that sea. And yet people cling to the grain as if it were everything, as if losing it means losing their very existence. They live for that one drop, chasing it, protecting it, boasting about it, while eternity stretches vast and infinite, waiting for them to awaken. But when God opens your eyes, you realize how foolish it is to invest your soul in something that cannot last. You realize that no matter how long you live on this earth, compared to eternity, it is only a vapor that appears for a moment and then vanishes away. The truth of eternity is not just about endless time, it is about ultimate destination. Every soul will continue, every heart will live beyond the grave, but not every soul will live in the same place. Eternity is divided, and the path you walk now is shaping the place you will spend forever. Heaven is not a fantasy, it is the home of those who have surrendered their lives to the truth of God. Hell is not a metaphor, it is the end of all who reject him, who cling to darkness rather than light. Once your eyes are open to eternity, you realize that every choice carries a weight beyond this life. Words are not just words, they echo in eternity. Actions are not just actions, they shape your eternal story. Decisions are not just temporary, they determine destiny. When you see eternity, you begin to live differently. Suddenly, compromise feels dangerous. Suddenly, sin feels heavier. Suddenly, time feels short. You cannot waste hours numbing yourself with entertainment when you know that eternity is one heartbeat away. You cannot treat holiness lightly when you know that heaven is real. You cannot ignore God's voice when you realize that you will stand before him sooner than you think. This is why so many resist the opening of their eyes, because to truly see eternity is to feel the weight of responsibility. But that weight is also a gift, because it awakens you to reality. It tears you away from the lies of the temporary and anchors you in the truth of forever. Think of it this way. A person asleep in a burning house may dream they are safe, but when they are shaken awake, the dream is shattered. They may not like the shock, but the shock saves their life. So it is with eternity. When God shakes you awake and opens your eyes, you may not like what you see at first, but what you see has the power to save your soul. Better to live in the discomfort of truth than to die in the comfort of lies. This world is passing, its pleasures are fading, its riches are empty, its glory is fleeting, but eternity never ends. To live for the temporary is to waste the eternal. To cling to this life is to lose the life that matters most. And to ignore eternity is the most dangerous blindness of all. But hear this. The fact that you are hearing these words right now is evidence that eternity is calling you. It is not far away, it is already pressing against your spirit. The truth of eternity has come near, and your soul knows it. That restlessness inside you, that hunger nothing on earth can fill, that ache you carry even when you get what you thought you wanted. It is your soul longing for eternity. Nothing temporary will ever silence it. Nothing earthly will ever satisfy it. Only the eternal God, only his presence, only his truth can meet that hunger. And once your eyes are open to eternity, you cannot live the same. You cannot pretend you are blind. You cannot unsee what God has shown you. You will either surrender and walk in the light of that truth, or you will resist and stumble deeper into darkness. But the choice is yours, and the time is shorter than you think. Eternity is closer than your next breath. So awaken now. Open your eyes before it is too late. Let the weight of eternity fall on you, not to crush you, but to free you. For once you truly see it, you will never again waste your soul on what does not matter. You will live ready, awake, and unshakable, because you know the truth. Eternity is real, and you are only moments away from stepping into it. When truth confronts you, it never leaves you neutral. To hear truth is to be placed at a crossroads. You cannot encounter light and then walk away unchanged. You cannot have your soul shaken, your eyes opened, and then return to blindness as if nothing happened. The moment God awakens you is the moment of decision, and your response will determine your destiny. There is no middle ground, no safe delay, no casual response when eternity presses against you. The urgency of your response is everything. Many people believe they have time. They believe they can postpone surrender until tomorrow, that they can make peace with God when they are older, that they can repent later when life slows down. But who promised you tomorrow? Who guaranteed you another heartbeat? Eternity does not wait for your convenience. Death does not check your schedule. The door between this life and the next can open in a moment, in an instant, without warning. And when it does, your chance to respond is gone. That is why the scripture says, "Today, if you hear his voice, do not harden your heart." Today, not tomorrow, now, not later, because delay is the language of deception. The danger of delay is that the more you resist, the harder your heart becomes. The more you push away the voice of God, the quieter it seems. The more you cover your eyes, the easier it becomes to live in blindness. Some think they will wake up one day and finally choose the truth, but often the longer you wait, the less likely you are to respond at all. The enemy does not need you to reject God openly. He only needs you to postpone your response until it is too late. Procrastination is his weapon, and countless souls have been lost because they thought they had more time. The urgency of your response is not just about avoiding hell. It is about stepping into the life you were created for. Every day you wait is a day wasted, a day spent chasing shadows instead of walking in the light. Every moment you delay is a moment you could have been transformed, healed, restored, awakened. The call of God is not only about the future, it is about the present. He is not just preparing you for eternity, he is inviting you into life right now. To delay is to rob yourself of the fullness he is offering. Think of standing at the edge of a cliff. A bridge stretches across to safety, but flames are rising behind you. You cannot stand there forever. You cannot wait until it feels convenient to cross. The longer you hesitate, the more dangerous it becomes. You must decide, and you must decide quickly. That is the reality of the soul. To know the truth and not respond is to put yourself in greater danger than those who never heard it at all. For once you see the light, you are responsible for what you do with it. Do not think your heart will always feel what it feels now. Conviction is a gift, and it is not guaranteed to stay with you. To feel the weight of eternity pressing on your soul, to sense the urgency of God calling you, is not something you can manufacture. It is a divine mercy. If you sense it, respond immediately. Do not let it pass. Do not silence it with distraction. Do not drown it with excuses, because if you ignore the call long enough, your heart will harden, your ears will grow deaf, and the fire that is burning in you right now will grow cold. That is the most dangerous state of all, when you no longer feel the urgency to respond. The urgency of your response matters because every choice is shaping your eternity. You cannot drift into heaven by accident. You cannot stumble into salvation without surrender. The way is narrow and the gate is small, and only those who choose to enter will walk it. God will not force you, he invites you. He shakes your soul, he opens your eyes, but then he waits for your response. He honors your free will because love cannot be forced. But that freedom is dangerous if you think you can abuse it. To refuse to decide is to already decide. To stay neutral is to already choose the darkness. Silence itself is a response. So hear this, your moment is now. Your response cannot wait. If your heart is beating, if your soul is stirring, if your spirit feels the weight of these words, it is because God himself is calling you. The King of Heaven is inviting you, not tomorrow, not next week, not one day when it is more comfortable, but now he is saying, choose life, choose truth, choose me. Do not harden your heart. Do not wait until it is too late. Eternity is closer than you think, and the urgency of your response will echo forever. This is the crossroad, the turning point, the moment that matters most. You cannot escape it. You cannot ignore it. You can only choose. The light has come. The truth has been revealed. Your soul has been shaken. Your eyes have been opened. Now it is up to you. Respond, surrender, run to Him while you still have time. Because once you do, you will discover that the urgency was not to rob you of life, but to bring you into it. And when you finally yield, you will realize that this was the moment your eternity changed forever.